In a game in the Amber tournament, the famous Amber tournaments in Monaco, again in the year 2005, I had a very interesting game with Paco Vallejo of Spain. Black is clearly better because he has a huge space advantage on the king side, and white has these double pawns. The pawns are useless to white, but these pawns mean that I can still create a pawn majority over there. On top of that, I'm going to play bishop d4. He went rook e7, which is correct. I went king f6, nudging his rook. He went rook a7. And now I did something quite unusual. I played g3. This is a risky move. I would say more it's a commitment, because having put the pawn here, there are no more pawn endgames to win, and if we exchange rooks, it's a draw. But I can use Zugzwang because his king is trapped, and so he has fewer moves left. And black has several ideas, and we still have rooks at the board, so I'm going to use the rooks to get into white's position. He went rook d1. I settled my bishop nicely. Now it's well embedded there, with supported by two pawns, supporting the pawn instead. And he went rook e1. This is a very important move. So what is going on here? Well, black now needs a rook to participate, but all the obvious squares are taken. That square is taken. I would need it to come along and penetrate along the a file. That square is taken because I need it to come on the e file. However, the one thing I can say is that the rook, in a sense, is pinning down the bishop. The bishop has to stay on the square in order for that rook not to get there. I went h4. There is another idea, which is what happens if rook g8. Well, white can go bishop d5. Now he's threatening mate, so that's a very urgent matter. I would go rook cf8, and my idea would be to play rook g4 and then just threaten mate on the give mate on the next move, rook h4. But then in fact he goes here. Now he's threatening to think, so I could go rook g7, and then suddenly it's not clear to me exactly how I progress, because I don't really have the space to break through now. I went h4, and now I retain the option, if he goes bishop d5, to simply take a pawn and take that pawn. And now there are more open files to work with, because the f file is opened up as well. So it's a promising area. He tried to start with the rook, but he fell into my trap, which I could now play d5, using the fact that the bishop is now threatening that. So his rook moves, takes now bishop d5, but I play king f5, check, king g6. Now he went f5 check, and his problem is that after bishop c4, I simply play rook d8, and there is nothing stopping my rook getting in anymore. I can also play rook a8, so you can see how that bishop, which was once dominating my rook, now no longer is, because there are too many files available. He went f5 check, king g5, and gave another check in desperation. I went king f4. I no longer need to worry about the pawn, because I'm going to give mate. I don't even need to worry about his pawn getting to f7. Bishop f3, rook e8. He tries one final trick, rook g4 and rook e4. So I take, and now king f4. King e4 is stalemate. So I can't do that, but I play king f4, and this is winning. Bishop d5, I play c3, bishop b3, I play bishop f2. Now that keeps his king completely tied up. Bishop e1. I mean, there are many ways to win here, but essentially the idea is now I release his king, and now c2. If he takes, because I've pushed my bishop out of the way, there is no longer a stalemate, and so black wins. So white here is Victor Korchnoi, and this was a game we played in the Biel Interzonal in 1993. This was the game which kept me in the race for qualification actually, because I had fallen behind a bit. I must admit that Korchnoi had a huge advantage in this game, but somehow slowly I managed to fight back and get a playable position. And now his rook is on a7, threatening to take my pawn. And if I play here knight takes a7, then ba7 unfortunately is threatening to queen. So I can't do that. If I do this, then he takes rook b7 check, and now white is winning because he has a rook protecting his passed pawn, which will invariably queen. So I came up with a nice idea, which is rook e f7. And this is quite strong. In fact, his best move would have been rook a2, defending this, and we could have gone on. Unfortunately, he forgot about my counterplay for a second, and this turned out to be a mistake. He took. And now I could simply take on e6. What looked like a attack on f2 was in fact just a bluff. My real objective was to keep the rook staring at that pawn. And so when he took, I could play rook takes e6, knight takes e6, rook f7, rook takes b7 would win. So he now runs back, but I go back, and he came here. But now it's too late, he's a piece down. So, and I just play rook b8. And now, with my king, I'm slowly going to win that pawn. So now, I cannot make any further progress because if I get here, check, and he'll just kick me back and come back. So I make progress this way. Rook f8, check, king e6. Rook b6, king d7. If he just keeps waiting, I'll play rook b8. And then I'll play knight e7. He'll take, I'll take. And then I go back to c7 and win this pawn. So he made a few more moves, but essentially the position was beyond redemption. So always watch out for your opponent's counterplay. Don't relax for a second when you're converting an advantage.